on 422 when I first heard that the towers had collapsed, and I couldn't believe that the news was accurate. It was just not something that they were supposed, that a building does. Before that, it was, I thought it was an accident that this plane flew into the World Trade Center. And then the second one is that we're under attack. And then I started hearing about the Pentagon. And at that time, I thought maybe the media was panicking. And they were just getting false reports in from everywhere. But then it was all true.
I came back from my 9 o'clock class, and some girl was walking past me in the hall, and she said that go turn on the television because the plane had hit the World Trade Center. And I didn't really think it was a big deal, and then I turned on the TV, and I saw the whole both of the towers in flames, and then they went to coverage of the Pentagon, and my first thought was whether my godmother in New York City was okay. So I kept trying to get in touch with her, and she had been uptown, so I couldn't get in touch with her for a while. But it was really hard. Nobody else at that point was back from class.
Well, I woke up, I had a 10 o'clock class, 10 o'clock communications class actually, and all I remember is getting to Ritter and there being a whole bunch of people in the lobby watching TV. And as soon as we got there, I looked at the monitors and you see the World Trade Center on fire. It's like the most shocking thing that you never think that would happen.
And I come into work, and oddly enough, there was nobody in the hallways, but I didn't think much of it. Sometimes that happens. So I spoke to no one on the way in, and I came to my office and met with a student midway into our conference about his essay. My husband calls and my husband doesn't usually call to talk about what's on the news at work. And he said something in a distracted voice about a plane hit the World Trade Center. I'm imagining a Cessna gone astray or something like that. And then I'm wondering, why is he calling me at work to tell me this? And so we ended the conversation kind of abruptly with me not clearly understanding. And oddly enough, the student and I continued our discussion because he didn't know either. Then the second student comes for her conference, and she bursts in crying and distraught and told me that not only the World Trade Center had been hit by a plane, but the White House lawn was burning. Apparently she'd gotten the Pentagon news incorrect. And all three of us kind of just looked at each other like, what's going on?
There were no words to even describe one's reaction to what happened. And this morning, a year after, I went back in my journal to see what I had written, and I realized that I'd written, maybe a small paragraph in months, and I realized that I just had no words for describing my reaction, which was shock, anger, I was totally mystified how this could happen. And today, a year later, I felt that there's been such a media hype that what we've lost is that silence, where we sort of think about why this happened.
So this is my villanelle for 9/11. The ATM spits out $400 in cash. I look around the Wawa with a guilty eye. In New York, 3,000 die in a flash. The national mood may turn suddenly rash, and every market the scene of panic buys. The ATM spits out $400 in cash. Every TV station just continues to lash us with Tower and Fire, the blackest crime, how in New York 3,000 die in a flash. Banking and electronic systems could all crash. I've got a wife and family on the line. The ATM spits out $400 in cash. The terrorists have done it, made their splash. They've gotten to me this time, while in New York 3,000 die in a flash. 1 year later, like a hangover, I'm feeling trashed, and fear finds outlet in this crappy rhyme. The ATM still spits out a hunk of cash, and in New York, 3,000 are still dead in a flash. The end.
The way the museum became involved with the project was that the American Association of Museums put out a call to its member organizations, asking museums around the country to think of themselves, particularly in light of the anniversary of September 11th, as community centers, and to think about ways in which they could engage with their communities and provide a forum for them to respond to the events of the year. And my idea was to not only think of the museum as a community center, but to think of this as an opportunity to put the experiences of September 11th and the year that followed it in the context of what it meant to us all in our visual memories.